Whoops, I forgot to turn on the NosillaCast feed last week.
Maybe he's
you
not
weren't really listening.
Maybe he's not listening to NosillaCast anymore.
I think he was faking.
I wonder.
Oh, Steve, you
Yes.
should get. Let's see. I think I would probably be better at getting the link for you, but you might want to get. I'm going to send you a link here. Hang on just one moment, please. Hello, everybody. Did I say hi to everybody else? I've been talking to Steve. I need to get this.
Hello, NosillaCastaways. Hopefully, those of you in the U.S. have taken advantage of that extra hour you got last night or this morning or however you look at it.
All right. I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to drop that into the show notes there.
Oh, boy. I think I know what this is.
Wait a minute. Is that the right link?
No.
Hang on. That's the wrong link. Shoot. And I just accidentally quit the chat room.
Never mind that link behind the curtain.
Yeah, hang on. Type that quickly before they...
Oh, you just exited the chat
I told
room.
you I just...
Oh.
It's like you don't listen to me. Wait, Textual 7 is now available. I'm already in Textual 7, aren't I? Oh, shoot. I have 2 versions of Textual running, and I need to get... All right, hang on. That actually shows me that I forgot to refresh. Yeah, ignore that. Did it let me back in? No, there we go.
There you are.
Okay, hang on. Wrong link. I had to mess with the thing quite a bit. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. This one. There we go. All right.
Yay!
My feet looks dim and blue.
Really?
I can change that.
You look fine here. Maybe a little dark, but not too much.
Here, we'll go night shift.
How's
that?
Oh, now that's kind of a yellowish tinge.
Yeah. Bring that all the way up. That's the remind me in an hour. Don't want to give her the flea medicine right now. How's that? Is that better, George?
Pinker. Yeah.
Pinker. Is that what you want?
He likes pinker.
Like the warm look? Now Steve looks kind of dim and blue.
Not according to Kevin.
Oh, what does he say? You look smart, not dim?
No, exceptional.
Exceptional. Oh, babe.
My wingman comes through.
Oh, look. Oh, shut up, Alexa. Jeez. She's so needy. All right.
Oh, I see ears. Or is...
Okay, I'm going to lock you out because I know you want to be the center of attention.
I'm going to mute.
No. You don't have to mute. I made me the center of attention. Oh, look. We've got a notch in ears. Ooh. So, yeah. Go to the home screen. Ooh.
Show them how you delete an app.
Oh, no, it's hard. So let's go into an app, go in here, and I'll go up. I got to go up. I got to go slowly. Now I press and hold. And did I get the red dots?
Nope.
No. There you go. And now, can I see? Oh, look at me.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Go like that. Whoa. Yeah. And then you got to go. How do you get back? I got to go into an app, and then I can go back. There we go. What a mess. But look at this. Ooh, wireless charging. Ooh, look at that. Oh, Cineo. That's one that I'll be talking about in the show. Okay. All right. I haven't done a check of the recording software yet.
So did you freeze the screen?
On me? Absolutely. Did you want it to come back?
Never.
There you go. Yeah. I've got I looked for the color that would bother Steve the most. So that's actually supposed to be purple. Looks blue in that. It's very blue.
Looks purple here.
Purple. It does?
Yeah. Purplish.
Oh, no, but it doesn't look anything like the real color.
It might be the night shift going on there.
Yeah. Well, that's important stuff there. Nobody's talking.
Well, George wanted to confirm that's a case and not the actual phone.
Purple case on there.
So just make sure everyone knows the back side of the phone is glass like the front side.
Whoa, just got some serious breakup on you.
Yeah.
There's the back. I went black because the silver is actually really milky looking on the back. The black is actually kind of milky looking too. But I had to go with purple to keep Steve from taking my phone. Right, Steve? Looks blue to me. Steve, are you muted?
Oh, I'm here, but
I was talking to you.
But I'm frozen.
Out. Are you? Are you frozen out still? Oh, I thought I unfrozen you. There you go. Talk.
There you go. Good job, Podfeet.
Michael says he's not getting any audio or video. Let's see if anything. Still paused. Good. All right. Well, it's probably time I do a little test recording. Let's see here. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. Right, let's go play that back. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan. Too many. I really want one audio control. Playback, USB. That's what I want. Okay, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. Was that too loud? Can't hear you.
Sounded good here.
Okay.
My mutual funds, thank you.
Did you go max out? What?
Did we max out on the phones? So apparently Apple is in his mutual fund holdings.
Yeah.
And their stock has been doing pretty nice lately.
We might have assisted a little bit this week. It's possible. All right, there we go. All right, here we go. We should probably start the show. You sure it's not too loud? I've got the setting. Yeah, I'm too hot. That's going to sound bad.
Oh, that's another thing altogether.
Hot. I just watched that episode of The Office when Michael gets back from Jamaica. Ding, ding, ding. Hot. Plays it over and over again. All right. Here we go. Let's go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and. Wait, where's the music? Steve's whistling the music in the other room. I can hear him. You're not whistling for everybody else, Steve. It's really weird that you can do that. Okay, I'm gonna bring that down a little bit. That's a little too loud. Let's go there, right about there. No, it's too quiet. Right there. Perfect. Okay, here we go. Oop. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, November 5th, 2017, and this is show number 652. Well, I'm sure you've noticed by this time that I stuffed a special episode of Chit Chat Across the Pond into the NosillaCast feed. I felt pretty passionate about the show Bart and I did, where he hosted Chit Chat and talked to me about my experiences as a woman in a technology job. I've gotten some simply lovely feedback from so many of you, and that really warms my heart. I'm really glad I did it, but I still feel a little bit queasy about sharing so much personal, thoughts and experiences. As I said during the show, others have had far worse experiences than I have, and they stuck their necks out. So I kind of wanted to join them in keeping the conversation going in hopes of positive change. I definitely want to thank Bart yet again for so gently holding this interview with me and making me feel safe. Well, a little over 4 years ago, Bart Busschots decided to launch his own Apple podcast. He called it Let's Talk Apple, and he designed it as a monthly retrospective about the Apple news. Not, hard-hitting, instantaneous, jump on the stories right away kind of conversation, but more look back over the month and have some real introspective thought about what's happened and a good discussion. I wanted to take a moment to congratulate Bart because he has reached 50 episodes of Let's Talk Apple. The show brings in perspectives across the globe, and the discussion is always interesting as a result. You can find Let's Talk Apple at lets-talk.ie, and congratulations, Bart, on 50 episodes of Let's Talk Apple. 50! I cannot believe he's at 50.
Yeah, that sounds like about a year. Oh, no, is that 50 of both episodes? No. So that's 2 years, huh?
No, 50 episodes of Let's Talk Apple.
So and he does that 50, every other week, right?
No, he does it every month.
Oh.
So he does a show every other week, but it's one. So
that's
they're
right.
one a month.
He does a Let's Talk every other week, but a Let's Talk Apple once a month. So 50, man, that's like 4 years.
Yeah, that's why I said 4 years. Okay, we need to go. That's not what I really want to do, but shoot, what I do. Okay, don't close that. Don't close the main show. What am I looking for? Preview. Here we go. Dumb question corner, Apple photos. That's the one I want next. Yeah, this I wrote a long time ago, and I got to go pick it up. There it is. Preview. Here we go. Oh, I need my dumb question corner music. How exciting. We don't have dumb question corners as often as we should. Drop that in here. Episodes of Let's Talk Apple.
Dumb question.
Dumb questions. Dumb questions.
What is?
How come I always have to?
It's time for Dumb Question Corner.
Right. I'm out of shape doing dumb question corner. I haven't done that in a while. Here we go.
It's time for Dumb Question Corner.
Well, Eric in Durham, North Carolina sent in our dumb question this week, and it's a really interesting question. He wrote, "Hey, Allison, here's a dumb question for you. I finally got rid of my Android phone and got an iPhone. Smiley face. With that in mind, should I switch to Apple Photos app instead of using the Google Photo app? What is the difference between the two?" Well, I talked to Eric and I said, explain that sounds like an easy question to answer, but I think I could pretty much sit in a room all by myself and have this argument for both sides. So let's try talking through the features and see if we can find an answer for Eric. The hard part about answering it is that it all depends on what you want to do. Dare I say, it depends on what problem you're trying to solve. Google Photos and Apple Photos are two really completely different beasts. Apple Photos on the Mac is a quite competent photo editing application, especially with the advances in High Sierra. There are multiple controls for lighting, color, retouching, levels, curves, definition, noise reduction, sharpening, vignettes, and more. They have a plugin architecture that allows you to add even higher functionality, like the tools that I love from Affinity Photo, and you can do image edits in Apple Photos on one device, and that is synced across all of your Apple devices and on the web at iCloud.com. Apple Photos is also a digital asset manager. They sometimes call that a DAM, but I don't like to swear on the show, so we'll call it a digital asset manager. Anyway, Apple Photos supports multiple folder depth and albums and keywording, but not hierarchical keywording. It even has a smart albums thing, so you could, for example, create an album within a date range taken by a specific camera model at a specific location. With iCloud Photo Library, your full resolution photos are synced to the cloud and optimized versions can go to your smaller devices. But if you live in a mixed OS world, your Windows and Android devices will have to depend on iCloud.com to get to your photos. Now, Google Photos is very limited in the editing of photos. It's coming along, but it's nowhere near as capable or as extensible as Apple Photos. However, Google Photos is a fantastic way to get cross-platform uploads of photos from all of your devices to all of your devices. It's a much more platform-agnostic experience. There are upload applications for Windows, Android, iOS, and Mac. Storage of your photos and videos is free if you're okay being limited to 16 megabyte images and 1080p videos. If you want full resolution, that's going to cost you extra. Apple's iCloud Photo Library that I mentioned earlier is free at the lowest level for 5 gigabytes. But who has a library that small? You wouldn't be asking this question if your library was that small. You can buy iCloud Drive storage at $1 per month for $50, or 50 gigabytes, I should say. So that's not bad at all. $4 a month for 200 gigabytes. Now, the top level is 2 terabytes, and that is the most expensive plan. But at $10 a month, you can share that storage with your entire family. I was recently able to save a bunch of money by getting everybody into my 2 terabyte plan. Now, that same $10 a month will get you only half that amount of storage on Google Drive. So you get a 1 terabyte worth of full resolution videos and photos for $10. However, To be honest, even with my 70,000 image photo library of raw photos and some videos, I was only using 600 gigabytes so far. So, 1 terabyte is really probably not a limitation. So, that wouldn't be a big differentiator there. I would bet that most people would go with the free plan on Google Photos anyway and not care about the size limitations of the images and videos. Then again, you did just buy that iPhone that can take 4K video. Do you really want them dumbed down to 1080p? Only you can answer that question on whether you care. Are you starting to see how I could argue with myself on this? I can see both sides. Now, if you're super organized and OCD and love to put your photos into albums and folders and name them, Apple Photos might be a better choice. I am that OCD person. I name everything and I put everything in folders and I embed folders and folders and folders. But if you're tired of organizing your photos or were never diligent about it in the first place, Google Photos might be a dream come true. The main reason to organize is to be able to find stuff later, right? Well, Google Photos has insane algorithms at image recognition, so it's going to find everything for you, whether you named it or not. For example, their people recognition is off the charts. I just took a look at my people and pets page, and it cataloged images of my mother, known to the NosillaCastaways as the Pod Mom. It had accurately found the Pod Mom in images from her last Christmas at age 94 and black and white images of her in her 20s, and even found her in the earliest photo I have of her where she's about 3 years old. Now, why do I need to name and organize my photos in OCD level albums if Google's going to do all that for me? I should admit, by the way, that all of these photos did have the name Gene in them, but it was still pretty amazing that it put them together and knew which gene, that they were all the same gene. Now, Apple Photos does recognition of people as well, but you have to put in some effort to get it to work very well. You have to train it to recognize people. It's a lot better than it used to be, especially since now people sync across all your devices, but it doesn't find nearly as many matches unless you help it along. Apple Photos does image recognition. Okay, why do I not have the latest version? Steve, I thought you fixed that duplicate paragraph. Remember you found that? I can't hear you. I remember you found that duplicate paragraph.
I thought I did, but maybe I didn't update. I remember deleting it. So you didn't read this last week?
No, I did not.
Why was I editing it then last week?
But it doesn't find nearly, I don't know.
I thought I edited it as a result of you finding that while you read it.
They're not, no.
Okay.
They're not, no, but don't touch it. I'm going to fix it because it's actually, it's a mixture of paragraphs. You can't just get rid of one or the other. They're not the same thing.
Well, that's a different article then.
Okay. Oh, maybe I did this twice.
Yeah.
Hang on. Hold, please. Oh, you know what? This isn't exactly the same. Okay, it's just worded almost exactly the same at the beginning. Ooh, hold please. Missing anything in the chat room? It sounds like it's quiet in there today.
Well, Brett owes us all drinks.
Brett just got here?
Just got here. He must.
Well, did George bring the drinks from last time? Because he totally owed us.
That's right. He came in like 5 minutes at the end.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, your dumb question corner, I didn't see as a separate blog post. Is that just?
Yeah, it is. It's just way back. It was early last week. Apple Photos.
Ah, I see it now. October 26th.
Don't edit it. Hang on. Apple Photos does. Okay. Who is flying out? Who is that? Steve?
Sorry?
Steve?
Flying out where?
Flying out in the chat room. Who's flying out?
I don't know. Who's flying out?
Steve, there's someone in the chat room whose name is flying out.
Oh. What does a yellow light mean?
Okay, I'm just going to flying out snuck in.
All
so
right.
who is flying out?
Who is flying out?
Avoir de pois. Okay. I'm going to keep going and hopefully you will crack the code by the time I'm done. All right. Apple Photos uses its image recognition in other ways as well. For example, you can search for categories like bridges or dogs. But Google Photos goes way beyond that. For example, you may have noticed I've referred to my people and pets section on Google Photos. Yes, they recognize your pets. It's obviously whatever animals for whom you have a ton of photos, but I could see our dog Tesla, our two cats Ada and Grace, and Lindsay's dog Dodger. It was pretty amazing. So how does Google do this so much better than Apple? From what I understand, Google uses your images along with everyone else's to do pattern recognition with machine learning. Now, they don't explicitly share your images with anybody else, but they definitely use them in their massive algorithms. If privacy is a high priority for you, then Apple's on-device algorithms might be more to your taste. They don't pile your images together with everyone else's, so you're less exposed, but as a result, they don't get the accuracy that Google can provide. In iOS 11, Apple has finally started syncing the facial recognition across your devices, which is awesome, so at least that's better. But what if you want to share photos with others? That's another problem to be solved, right? When we went on our big trip to the Galapagos Islands, the folks on the boat asked me to find a way for us to easily share our photos to each other after the trip. They noticed I was kind of a geek and they said, yeah, you figure it out. Anyway, I looked at a lot of different options. I looked at Shutterfly, Flickr, SmugMug, Facebook, and the easiest, most cross-platform, and least annoying place was Google Photos. I was able to make an album with the best of my photos and then simply invite all of our travelers to join as contributors. I didn't even have to provide them with any instructions. Even those with the lowest technical skills were at least able to view the photos. Apple Photos does have album sharing, but you only get the ability for others to add to an album if they use Apple devices. You can share an album to a public website, and non-Apple people can view and download your images, but non-Apple people cannot add their own images to that. All right. So what have we learned? Need a good image editor? Use Apple Photos. Want free online storage of all your photos and videos that aren't bothered by somewhat limited resolution? Wait, I said that wrong. I think I fumbled that last line there too. Add their own image, but non-Apple. He didn't want to do that. Don't. Be careful. Download your images. Download your images. That's a dangerous place to stop. What is that? All right. If they use Apple devices. If they use Apple devices. There we go. You can share an album to a public website, and non-Apple people can then view and download your images. But as I said, non-Apple folks can't add their own images. All right. So let's go bottom line it here. What have we learned? If you need a good image editor, use Apple Photos. Want free online storage of all your photos and videos, and you aren't bothered by somewhat limited resolution? Use Google Photos. Want to be able to organize your photos to really OCD level folders? Use Apple Photos. If you live in a cross-platform household, you should be using Google Photos. Live in an all-Apple world? Use Apple Photos. Want crazy good image recognition? You should use Google Photos. Want to create collaboratively shared albums cross-platform? Use Google Photos. Care deeply about privacy? Use Apple Photos. So, unless you care deeply about privacy and don't want your images used by Google, I think the right answer might be to use both. Use iCloud Photo Library and the great image editing on the Mac and have all those images synced across your Apple devices, but then tell Google Photos to sync your Apple Photos library, which lets you play with your images across all of your devices, regardless of platform. Goats going to high places? What are you talking about? Oh, I forgot to tell you what beer I'm drinking.
Oh,
what
yes.
What is this goat thing?
Well, how did it start? Something about a dog that... Oh, George brought up that Google Photos identified a dog as a goat.
Oh, nice.
He searched for dog and it returned goat. And then...
well, they don't always get it right.
No, and they're generally pretty good. I think they're better than Apple Photos.
At that,
Yeah.
again, it depends on what you want.
But have you know George talked about goats being on houses? You ever seen those kind of photos?
Oh, I have.
And I've seen them in trees. So what is it about goats that they tend to go upward?
They like to jump.
Maybe they like cliffs and they're trying to get their cliff expertise.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
honing
that's
their
probably
cliff climbing expertise. By the way, Paul is flying out.
Has Paul been here before?
He's been here, yes. And in fact, he said, when I asked who he was, he said, look it up.
Okay, so he's a snot. So
Yeah.
he's a perfect,
He's our
obviously
kind of people.
NosillaCast way, right?
Mountain goats, right.
Mountain goats. I did want to say one thing I didn't put in that review about Google Photos. I started doing Google Photos, and it is a bear to get that thing to pause. I've tried pausing it, and it shows that it's paused, and it'll still be using 125% of a CPU. So it's a little annoying on that. He's already one of us. One of us. One of us. All right. So it's been a long time since Paul was here.
Couple months. First time, couple months ago.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, then he doesn't get the first time or the back from a long time.
No, but
greeting.
we still appreciate him returning.
Yeah, but I'm not going to talk about him on the show because he's perfect.
Got it.
Right.
Dr. Dream. Oh, Dr. Dream's back.
Dr. Dream, you haven't been here in a long time. How are you?
It's been ages.
He brought me wine to Macstock one year.
Yes.
He brought Pud Feet wine. Well, it was barefoot wine. Okay. Oh, Ground Systems. Oh, he's a
Ground Systems. We may know him.
Yeah, now I'm having trouble doing the memory thing.
We may not.
I guess, but I'm talking like an hour later, it's still crunching away, George. All right, here we go. Oh, I need my tiny tip music.
Oh, wait.
This is very exciting.
Before you, what? I've been trying to give people.
Oh, and you don't here. Let me share this to. I hadn't shared my post yet.
Oh,
is that why you're not being able to follow along?
Yeah.
Oh, let's keep it harder for you. So, tiny tip about music.
Got it. Thank you.
Regardless of platform. Well, I'm going to break my cardinal rule. I am going to give you a tip about music. I've always said I will never help anyone with iTunes or anything related to music. Just ask Honda Bob how many times he's called me asking for help in iTunes, and I just write back, nope. Well, I guess I should explain why I'm breaking my own rule. You know, I'm a big fan of Don McAllister's Screencasts Online. In part 3 of Don's iOS 11 tutorials, which are fantastic, by the way, of course, as always. Anyway, he covered changes to the music app. One of the fun features Don demonstrated was how you can share playlists. I've heard people like to do that sort of thing. Anyway, Don explained that if you have any existing playlists from before iOS 11, you cannot share them. You have to create new playlists in order to share those playlists. You can't share your old playlists. That got me curious. On my iPad, while I was on the elliptical at the gym, I took a look at the music app. I was hoping I'd created a playlist at some sort. At some point, I should say. Then I remembered that for our grandson Forbes' first birthday, Lindsay's party theme of Wild Things required a playlist. I took charge of this critical task, and as people hollered out ideas for songs, I went into Apple Music and I added them to a Wild Things playlist. So Don demonstrated in his tutorial how in the new version of music on iOS, when you create a new playlist, there's a switch that says Show on My Profile and in Search. That's what we're looking for on an existing playlist. As Don demonstrated, if you open an existing playlist and hit the 3 dots, you'll see an option to share. However, this simply opens the standard share sheet to send it to someone via email or text message, not to share through Apple Music. Within that same menu, though, there's a button that says Add to a Playlist. But wait a minute, we're already in a playlist. Well, it sure makes more sense to hit that button that says Share, but it turns out you can add an existing playlist to playlists. I clicked on Add to a Playlist, and from there, selected New Playlist, and I gave it a new name. I called mine Wild Things 2 because I'm just that creative. Anyway, within that new playlist is the lovely Show on My Profile and search option that we were seeking. After I found this, I searched for Don and shared music and followed him. He must have fallen out of his chair when he saw the follow because he knows that music is definitely not my thing. He followed me back and verified that Wild Things 2 was visible to him. I was so excited to figure this out for him. So there, I gave you one tip about music. Do not expect to ever see another one. She's talking about UI and computer processes record safe.
Yeah, that is a good distinction.
That's pretty good. Okay, and I found it like a massive typo in this. What?
Who edited this thing?
I don't know. Goodness. Where's it? There. Send TITO. Send it to.
Wait,
the
Tito.
T is in a totally wrong place.
Isn't that Michael Jackson's brother?
Yeah, it says Tito, but it's got T space IT space O. I will fix it because I have to do everything here.
Oh.
Two.
Poor thing.
Send a blog. There we go. Okay, that one's done. All right, what's next? Oh, we should talk about Patreon. Here we go. Shh. Shh. If you learn from the NosillaCast and chit-chat across the pond, whether it's the light flavor or the fuller-bodied programming by stealth version, it would be great if you considered supporting the show through Patreon. Heck, you probably just learned something about the music app just now, right? Okay, no, I'm off my game. Start over. Don't go off script. Never go off script. If you learn from the NosillaCast and chit-chat across the pond, whether it's the light flavor or the fuller-bodied programming by stealth version, it would be great if you considered supporting the show through Patreon. At podfeet.com/Patreon, you commit a dollar amount per published show, and I only charge patrons for the NosillaCast, and you get all the other ones without ever being charged. I've said before that I guarantee you'll be billed for only 4 times a month because I only charge for the NosillaCast, but I forgot that there's 52 weeks in the year and they can't actually be divided evenly by 12, so it's really 4 1/3 times a month you'll be charged. Well, 52 times in a year. Anyway, you pick the dollar amount and you can increase or decrease it at any time, and you can even make it stop if you decide it's more than you can afford or if you're no longer getting the value out of the show. I'm sure that second thing never happens, but it's there just in case. If you can't afford to support the show financially, do not do this. I totally get that. But do me a favor, just tell a friend about the show, okay? All right. This is a fun one. This is going to be something for everybody. And unfortunately, I can't show you the, well, I don't know. I don't know what processes were amok. I'm just telling you, in Activity Monitor, it said Google Photos 125%, just pounding away. Last week, I had to put my my Mac up on a cooling mat and up on a stand that lifted it off the desk just to get it to cool down from how hard it was getting hammered by Google Photos. So, it's the initial upload, but it should still pause. When I say pause, it should pause. That's what I think. Oh, I forgot to explain my beer, didn't I? This is an exciting beer. If you're a fan of Sculpin, if you're a fan of Ballast Point, this is a new beer called Fathom, and it's an IPA, but it's much less hoppy than Sculpin, and it's actually much less expensive than Sculpin. A little bit lower alcohol content. What did Nolan say it was 6%?
6, yeah.
6%, where Sculpin is
7 point something.
7 something, yeah.
By the way, Fathom has been around, but it was an IPL, which is very odd, an Indian Pale Lager.
Oh.
It was one of the only ones around, so they changed the formula to make kind of a light version of Sculpin, which is an IPA.
It's wonderful. It's yummy. It's my new favorite beer from them. All right. Doug Bender snuck in.
Yes, he did.
Nice to see you.
And also, they've left.
Who else snuck in? Oh, Dorothy snuck in.
Yes? Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. Dorothy, I'm sorry I haven't been able to help you with your homework yet. I've been helping Lindsay move, so I've been doing nothing but working on that. Just got home. All right, here we go. This is a fun one. Wireless charging has been around for a long time in the Android world, but it just came to iPhone with the newly released glass-backed iPhone 8 and 10. Perhaps you're looking at your iPhone 6 or 6S and 7 and wishing that you could have wireless charging too. Well, a company called Bezalel from bezalel.co might have a solution for you. If you already have one of the 2017 iPhones, stay with me in this article though, because there might be something for you as well. Before we dig in, let's walk through just a couple of terms. There are those who object to the term wireless charging because, you know what, there's always wires involved. But let's just not get hung up on that, Micah. When we say wireless, we just mean that the device being charged does not have to be plugged in and unplugged all the time. The charger still has a wire because you got to get power somewhere. Now, there are competing standards for wireless charging, but the one that seems to be getting the most traction is called Qi charging. Qi is spelled Qi, but pronounced Qi. It would have been so like Apple to come up with their own standard, but in a moment of rarity, they chose the Qi standard for charging. This is great news for us because it means we can use chargers from third parties without them having to pay royalties to Apple or get certified by Apple because of some proprietary technology. So all these third-party chargers that have been created for like for Android, we get to use those. Bezalel sent me 3 products to test and review that are all very, very interesting. They sent me a charging case for the iPhone 7 Plus, a charging pad, and a car charger. I'm going to kind of bounce around between the 3 a bit, but I want to make one overarching statement first. The industrial design on all of the Bezalel products is fantastic. They are sleek, they're understated, the logo glows just right, and they're lovely to hold in the hand. Sometimes too much attention can be given to form, and then function is sacrificed as a result. But with Bezalel, the functionality of their devices is as wonderful as their form. On Bezalel's About page, they have a quote. It says, Bezalel is a term that represents the pursuit of artistry, workmanship, and intelligence. I think these products live up to that vision. So, spoiler, I love these devices. Now let's get into the details. Bezalel calls their iPhone wireless charging case the Latitude. It looks like a pretty standard iPhone case, but down at the bottom, there's a very short cable that comes out of the bottom, turns around 180 degrees, and goes into the lightning port. We will call that little bump at the bottom the nubbin, because it does actually stick out a little bit. At first, I thought it looked really weird, and I thought it would really bug me. But after a week of using it on my iPhone 7 Plus in the Latitude case, I did not even notice it. I'm telling you, it definitely did not get in my way. The Latitude is a hard black plastic with this lovely grippy finish, so it feels really nice in your hand. Now, I really dislike bulky cases, so I was glad to see that the Latitude is relatively slim, which is surprising since it has to have coils and other electronics inside to give you the charging capability. The front edge doesn't come up very high, so I was a little concerned about whether this case would protect a phone in case of a fall. Now, I love you guys and all, but I was unwilling to do an intentional drop test with my own phone just to see if it would provide adequate protection. So instead, I did an unintentional drop test. My phone fell out of my purse from about 3 or 4 feet up onto concrete. Now, the phone fell face down instead of on a corner, so that was kind of lucky, but there was no damage from that fall. Got lucky. Another thing I really dislike about putting a case on my phone is how the buttons on the phone feel. They're often rubber where the buttons go, and you have to press really hard to activate them. It feels like almost like remote controlling them, instead of a direct interaction. Bezalel did something I haven't seen on any other case. Instead of adding a covering over the buttons, they recess the case around the buttons so you have direct access to them. Again, the attention to how it feels is fantastic. The case gently slopes down to accommodate these buttons. The only thing I don't like about the Latitude case is that the bottom edge is a little bit sharp. When I was propping it up with my pinky fingers while typing, it sort of dug into them. It's not a big deal, but I gotta say something critical or you will not believe the rest of the review. Now, I do have to admit that when I was propping it up in this way, the nubbin actually helped me balance it in my hand and it kept it from flipping out of my fingers. So, yay nubbin. So the Latitude charging case is $40 for the iPhone 7 on Amazon, while the 7 Plus Latitude is available only directly from Bezalel for $60. That's actually not that much for a high-end case. But it gets even better. If you have an iPhone 6 or 6S, it's less expensive. It's only $40 from Amazon. Oddly, the least expensive Latitude charging case is the one for the 6 Plus and the 6S Plus at only $30. That's a lot of numbers, but of course, there are Amazon affiliate links in the show notes for all of these products. So the Latitude case is great, but that's not really interesting unless you have a charging pad. Stop and save and fix a typo. How could we have missed these typos? I don't understand it. Typos on the only $30. Let me find that. Why does my phone keep turning on? Steve's gone. Where did he go? Send a blog. Then reopen. Save. Oh, that's a good idea. So yeah, if unfortunately I can't show you these because I gave them to Lindsay. They were so good. All right. Bezalel calls the wireless charging pad the Futura X, which is pronounced X. Okay, no, too many fumbles. I don't know where Steve is. Maybe he's making me dinner. Bezalel calls the wireless charging pad the Futura X, which is pronounced X, not 10. I wrote to them and asked them. The Futura is 7 millimeters thick with sloping edges and 9 millimeters. It says centimeters. Good grief. Did anybody check my work? It's 9 millimeters. That's centimeters. Let's try this again. Bezalel calls the wireless charging pad the Futura X, which is pronounced X, not 10. I checked with them, by the way. They have online chat, very responsive, answered all of my questions. So that was pretty cool to know that they have that too. But anyway, it's Futura X. The Futura X is 7 millimeters thick with sloping edges and 9 millimeters square, which is around 3.75 inches square. It comes in black or white, and it has a slick, pretty, shiny surface.
Hold on.
What?
It is 9 centimeters square.
Oh, it is? Oh.
About 3.75 inches is about 9 centimeters.
Never mind. I knew that. Okay, fourth time recording this.
So you had it right.
I just thought I was wrong. 9 millimeters.
So
yeah,
we're talking about the area.
Yeah.
The length of the sides, right? Not the thickness. So
did George just call me math challenged? Okay. Where were you? You left us for a long time. We were very sad.
I had to get the barbecue going.
All right. Oh, I'm late, aren't I? I am nowhere near done.
Oh yeah,
I'm close. Okay,
you're gonna keep the class.
Keep going. Quit correcting me. Bezalel calls the wireless charging pad the Futura X, which is pronounced X, not 10. I know because I checked him in their live chat. Very responsive to all of my questions. That's good to know too. Anyway, the Futura X is 7 millimeters thick with sloping edges, and it's 9 centimeters square, which is like around 3.75 inches on a side. It comes in black or white and has a slick, shiny surface. And the best thing about pairing the Latitude case with the Futura charging pad is that they're magnetic. Now, you may have heard early reviews of people finding that their iPhone 8s hadn't charged because they either hadn't placed the phone on the charger carefully enough or the phone had vibrated off the charging pad when notifications came in. With the Bezalel devices, the magnets hold the two devices firmly aligned so you get a good charge. In fact, you have to sort of tilt the iPhone when you pick it up off of the Futura charging pad or to lift the whole thing up. Getting a secure alignment of the charging coil without extra effort on your part is critical. What's not critical is how pretty even the micro USB charging cable is for the Futura X. The connector is brushed aluminum color and the cable is a flat black ribbon. Bezalel pays attention to industrial design yet again. The Futura X charging pad will of course work with the iPhones 8 and 10 since it's standard Qi charging. The magnetic alignment won't work with the newer phones, so you have to be a bit more careful to be sure you get a good charge. The Futura X is $50 on Amazon right now. And remember, if you've got an iPhone 8, 10, or an Android phone that supports Qi charging, this would be great for you too. One thing I always look for when dealing with iPhones and anything that touches the Lightning port is that they're MFI certified. This is the Apple certification process called Made for iPhone or iPad. Anyway, I looked at the designation on the packaging for the Latitude charging case for the iPhone 7 Plus I received, and I did not see MFI certification. I wrote to the rep from Bezalel, and he sent me this quote. He said, "The Latitude case for iPhone 6 and 6S are MFI certified. However, the Latitude for iPhone 7 is still under the process of application." Well, I wish the 7 Plus one was certified, but the fact that the 6 and 6S are gives me some measure of confidence that these folks are doing the design right and they will get that certification. All right, having wireless charging on your desk or kitchen counter with the Futura X, that's great. But what about car charging? Bezalel's solution to this is an air vent mount called Omnia. It's a little tricky to squeeze the jaws open on the back of the Omnia to grip your vent, but once you get it on, you've got a rectangular flat plate on which to plop your phone. I say plop because the Omni is also magnetic, so alignment, again, is not a problem. The Omnia mount rotates, but since it doesn't stick out very far, which is good, that kind of limits the pivot angles you can achieve. You can also rotate the whole thing 90 degrees so your phone can be in portrait or landscape mode and still align with the charging magnets correctly. Now, the downside, I should say, okay, I'm going to say that one more time. The downside of car charging is always the cable management. And Bezalel did not come up with some magic way to bypass this. The Omnia car charger comes with a very pretty cigarette light adapter. I don't know what you're supposed to call that. What's the politically correct term for that? Anyway, this little adapter comes with 2 USB ports. So anyway, using the USB ports means dragging a cable across your console. And this receptacle, I guess they call it the 12-volt receptacle, it's known for not keeping really good contact. So you might have some problems charging with this. It might come on and off. Anyway, I don't really like having cables hanging all over. So I like a clean solution, a clean interface. So I'm not really thrilled with this solution. Here's the thing, though. If most of the time you don't need it to charge, you just need it to hold your phone up there, you could put the cable away until you need it. In the meantime, you've got the Omnia right there. It's a great magnetic car mount. Then when you're on a long trip or running low on power, plug that cable into the Omnia and power, and you're golden. Seems like the best of both worlds option to me. The Omnia wireless car charger will run you $60 on Amazon right now. I should mention that I've recently moved away from vent mounts, though, because I'm more comfortable with a little air blowing on my face. You may remember that I'm using the TechMat Mag Grip CD mount I talked about just recently. But guess what? The Bezalel Latitude case sticks to the TechMat because they both use magnets. Another best of both worlds scenario. Well, in advance of getting our iPhone 10s at Podfeet Productions, Steve and I bought the Cineo Easel wireless Qi charger that Megan Maroney recommended when she was on Chit Chat Across the Pond to talk about the iPhone 8. The Cineo has been patiently waiting on my desk for something to charge, so I thought it'd be fun to try it with the iPhone 7 Plus in the Latitude charging case. This is the only time the nubbin on the Latitude actually did get in my way. If I tried to balance the Latitude on the nubbin while sitting in the easel from Cineo, it wouldn't charge. I think it was out of alignment. So I simply flipped the phone upside down, and instantly the green charging light on the Cineo turned on, and I heard the happy chime of the iPhone starting to charge. Certainly not ideal, because one of the advantages of an easel charger is being able to look at and interact with your phone while charging. I have to say, though, I had no trouble lining the phone up to get it to charge, and since it was sitting up at an angle like that, it never vibrated off. Bezalel's website says that the Futura X charges at the same speed as wireless charging. I tried to run some scientifically valid tests to confirm this, but I have neither the time nor the equipment to do this really well. I tried waiting until my phone was nearly dead, and then I'd charge it through the different methods and measure data points along the way. However, it wasn't controlled enough to give me confidence that it was a valid test. I did end up learning some swell stuff. I can now do in Excel using scatter graphs and data of different intervals, so it wasn't a complete waste of time. I did learn that whether you're using wireless or wired charging, the iPhone charges pretty linearly from about 15 to 20% up to 90%. But after that, it takes forever to get that last 10% charge. All of the graphs I made from all the ways I charge reflected the same profile. The wireless charging from the Bezalel Future X and the Cineo did take a little bit longer in my test than wired charging, but I think it was within the margin of error of my testing techniques. Really need to step up my game and build that test lab. Well, whenever you read or hear a review by someone who got the device for free, which I did in this case, I got all 3 of these for free, you should take that into account. It's harder to be objective when you get free stuff. I will tell you, though, that I recently got 3 devices from a company that has done very good products in the past, but I did not review any of them because they just weren't very good. So here's how to tell that I really do like the Bezalel products. I had essentially finished my testing after the first day or 2, but I kept the Latitude case on my iPhone 7 Plus for over a week, and I only used wireless charging during that entire time. In fact, I like the Bezalel system enough that I gave the case and the Futura X and the vent charger, I gave them all to my daughter, Lindsay, and I bought a second Futura X for my house so I could charge my new iPhone 10 when it got there. Check out all of these products at bezalel.co. They have more than, they also have a 7,000 milliamp hour battery pack called the Prelude that has Qi charging built into it, so you can carry it on the go and just drop your phone on top of it. I might ask for one of these for Christmas. And how did you not notice it's a 7,000 battery pack?
Man.
Don't change it.
I'm changing.
No, I'm doing edits here. How did you not notice
Don't
that?
change a thing, Podfeet.
Millie,
Hey, Terry Vogue joined us. It's been a while.
It's autocorrect. Terry Vogue.
Yeah, Rotterdam,
Terry
Holland.
Vogelaar.
Holland. So he's representing Holland.
He's Dutch.
Yeah.
I've been talking about you behind your back, Terry. Where did I talk about? I talked about you on
Terry asked a good question, which I think you'll want to comment on. Shouldn't you review also bad products for objectivity?
Nope. Don't want to.
Yep.
I could, but I don't want to. So I'll tell you what I've decided to do instead. If a product is good but not great, I'll review that and I'll tell you all this stuff is good, but this is what I didn't like about it. But if it's just not good, it's a waste of time. And it's negative and just not any fun. It just doesn't make me happy. I had someone ask me this week, tell me that I should compile all of the apps that are bad at accessibility and then talk about them. It's like, yeah, I think I'll go hunting for that. That sounds like a lot of fun. God, that's a good beer. Fathom. That is fantastic.
Fathom that.
All right, here we go. We're going to finally talk about the iPhone 10. Uh-oh. Got a hiccup.
Time to drink water upside down? Hold that thought.
No, I got it. I got that one quick enough. Did you know there's a guaranteed way to stop the hiccups? Maybe I should have let it go through so I could have demonstrated. All right, here we go. Last week, I told you how Steve and I managed to bork the order of a second iPhone 10 and how I'd promised him he could have the one coming on day 1. That was November 3rd. I also told you that Pat Dengler's order got messed up too, so we were going to brave the lines on the 3rd. The planning... Okay, Steve, you got to mute. I can hear you. All kinds of breathing. Amazon sold defective third-party Mac chargers. Sure would have liked to have known that. Well, but I didn't have that experience. I'm not a news show. That was covered in the news shows, not by me. So I don't need, I review stuff that I use. So but that is why I looked for the MFI certification. I see dead people. That was Steve breathing, huh? All right, here we go. Last week, I told you about how Steve and I managed to bork the order of a second iPhone 10 and how I promised him that he could have the one coming on day 1, November 3rd. I also told you that Pat Dengler's order got messed up too, so she and I were going to brave the lines on November 3rd. The planning and strategy we went through were about as elaborate as that in the movie Ocean's 11. At least that's what my friend Ron said when I told him all the different moving pieces of making this go. When the iPhone 4 came out, I stood in line at the store in Manhattan Beach. It was a disaster. I had a phone pre-ordered and only went there to pick it up. But that line took 10.5 hours. The worst part of this was my friend Niraj was texting me the whole time I was in line he's saying how quick everything went over at the Cerritos store near his house. It took like 2 hours of line time, even for people who didn't pre-order. Well, when Pat and I started planning, I suggested this magical store in Cerritos based on Niraj's story from so very long ago. While the story was old, there was a bit of logic to choosing Cerritos. This store is quite large, but it's in a less affluent area than some of the other Apple stores that are within, say, a half hour of my house. I know I'm spoiled to have so many choices. It must drive Bart crazy every time he hears that, since there are none in Ireland yet. But anyway, Pat had another idea. She suggested the Apple store at the Beverly Center, right near Beverly Hills. Now, while this is kind of the opposite store, it's a very affluent area, there was logic in her suggestion. Turns out the Beverly Center has been under construction for ages, and nobody goes there as a result. They seem to think the stores aren't open during construction. Well, I checked in with Niraj, and he told me to avoid the Cerritos store. He told me that it's crazy busy now and would probably have a very long but very fun line. All right, off to the Beverly Center it is. Now, you got to figure out what time you should go stand in line. What's early enough, but not so early? You got to make sure you're guaranteed to get the phone you want, but you don't want to get up at the crack of dawn. This is the real crystal ball process. I called the store to find out where we go to line up, and the gentleman I talked to had me bring up Google Maps. He told me to get off Apple Maps and use Google Maps for this. He wanted to show me in Street View where to start lining up. That was great. But while he was online with me, he said they expected people to start lining up at 6 a.m. for an 8 a.m. opening of the store. Wasn't he precious with this little 6 a.m. recommendation? You can't line up at 6 if you expect to catch the unicorn, of the iPhone 10. So I had been thinking of 4 a.m., but then Pat said she heard people talking about midnight as being a good time. We compromised and chose 2 a.m. That meant I had to get up at 1 a.m., roll out of bed, run a toothbrush across my teeth, and maybe a hairbrush through my hair and just jet out of there. I went to bed at 9 p.m., and Steve didn't go to bed till around 11. He was very grateful that I was making this sacrifice so that he could be sure to get the first phone. He wanted to leave me a note of thanks on the bathroom counter that I would see in the morning, but he didn't want to turn on a light to go find a pencil and paper on my desk because that would have awakened me, and that would have been a bad thing. He looked around at the tools he had, and he made me a note. He pulled off a length of toilet paper and used one of my makeup brushes to gob on the word "thank you." I had to laugh when I found it when I woke up. So before I tell you the rest of Pat and my story, I have to add in the strategy we enabled for Steve's iPhone. From after the debacle of the iPhone 4 purchase, when I turned around and bought the iPhone 6, I thought, okay, I'm not going to stand in line because that was terrible. I'll have it delivered to my home. That's when I found out that my UPS delivery is the very last one on their route. Oddly enough, it's also the very last one on FedEx as well. My buddy Ron lives so close by that Tessa and I go to his house on our walks. And yet he got his iPhone first thing in the morning and mine came at like 6 or 7 at night. Well, I think it was Mark Pauly who tipped me off on a great trick. Once your order has shipped, but before the day of delivery, you could tell UPS a new delivery address. And one of the choices is to have it sent to your local UPS store. Now, there's 2 benefits here. First, you don't have to wait at home all day, which is great. And second, it's that they get much earlier deliveries. I tried it on my iPhone 7 Plus order, and sure enough, it was delivered to the UPS store at 10 a.m. Now, there's another factor here. We also wanted to go to San Diego on Friday afternoon, so that early delivery wasn't just to be one of the first people to get the phone. This meant Steve needed to track his order very carefully, or we wouldn't be able to go to San Diego. Mark Pauly to the rescue again, where he explained that you can start obsessively watching your delivery long before Apple ever tells you that it's even shipped. Steve gave me the instructions that Mark told him to follow. First, you set up an account on myups.com. While logged into your MyUPS account, you go to the tracking page, and in the left column, expand the Track by Reference link. In the Track by Reference link info fields, you enter the reference number of your package. Now you're thinking, I don't have a reference number because it hasn't shipped yet. Well, the reference number is actually your Apple order number. You follow that by the phone number associated with your MyUPS account. And also you have to select the shipment date range, the destination country, and the destination zip code. Finally, you select the track button, and that should bring up your package. if the shipment is yet underway. And at that point, you get its UPS tracking number. Easy peasy, right? Well, at least Mark gave Steve something to refresh obsessively all week. It was fun because he'd come running in and say, "It's in Hong Kong now." And he was so excited. All right, back to Allison and Pat and their line standing adventure. Pat beat me to the Beverly Center Apple store, and when she got there right around 2, there was no one there. The good news is that we were the first and second people in line, but the bad news is it was very lonely for the first hour and a half. At 3:30 a.m., we were joined by 2 very lovely Israeli guys. Would you believe they flew over from Israel just to buy these phones? Turned out they could finance their trip and make a lot of money too by selling them when they got back home. We explained the carrier situation, you have to buy through a carrier. They smiled at us and said they'd done this before and not to worry our pretty little heads about it. Now, while I would have preferred to be in line with true Apple enthusiasts, they were quite lovely people and we really enjoyed their company. I'm parched, I tell you.
Well, we lost George.
We did, but we gained Don Moeller.
Yes, and I don't recognize Don. I'm wondering if Don.
I've written back and forth with Don before.
Oh, you have? Maybe it's the first time in the chat room?
Yeah, Don, is this the first time here?
I've asked.
You have.
We lost George. His dog chewed his toe off. No, chewed his toe. I think his dog was hungry. It's been a long time.
All right. Okay. Just needed a break there to say hi. Niraj is writing to me right now.
You realize it's you're keeping everyone late now?
I'm sorry. I'm not done yet.
Do you have a hall pass?
Yeah, maybe I have to buy drinks for keeping everybody so late. All right. Shh. You're the one who's taking extra time.
Okay, muting.
All right. The time flew by as more and more people joined us. I have to say that the store choice was brilliant. Okay, I stop. Shh.
What was that?
That's a stupid notification telling me to give Tesla flea medicine. I told it to wait an hour and it did, but I'm still talking. My watch went off, my Mac, that's my spare phone, my iPhone 7 Plus.
That woman in the corner is still talking.
She still is. All right, hang on. The time flew by as more and more people joined us. I have to say that the store choice was brilliant. By 8 a.m., there were not more than 100 people in line. While waiting, we were watching on Twitter as people posted photos at other stores nearby. For example, the Fashion Island store, which is about an hour away down in Newport Beach, they had 150 people in line by 11 p.m. the night before. Anyway, around 7 a.m., the Apple Store employees came out and started taking our orders so the process would go quickly when the store opened. I had decided up front that if they didn't have the exact model I wanted, space gray 256 gigabytes, I was actually going to walk away. Luckily, my resolve was not tested since we were number 1 and number 2 in line. I texted Steve with delight when I got my confirmed order. Now, another interesting part of this was that they gave us times to come back to get our phones. Since we were in the group getting them at 8 a.m., we weren't supposed to leave, but others behind us were given times later in the morning so they could go off, have breakfast, come back later, which was really nice for them. We were ushered up the escalators and some people tried to get in front of us. They had 8 a.m. slots too, some of whom had pre-ordered, but I explained to the Apple Store employee that we'd been in line since 2 a.m. and we were darn tootin' getting to be the first ones in. He understood and assured me we'd get the privilege we had earned. Well, after they lined us up again outside the store to wait the last 20 minutes before official opening time, all of the employees came running by our line, whooping and hollering and doing high fives with us. I'd seen that happen on videos before, but it was a really exhilarating experience to actually be there, especially in our sleep-deprived state as they did this. Well, as luck would have it, while Pat got the honor of being the first one into the store, I received my phone in my hot little hand before she did, and they made a big deal out of it. They had a photographer taking video with an iPhone and a gimbal mount, of course, and they asked to take my picture as the first one to get the iPhone 10 in the store. Of course, I said yes, and I said, "What are you going to do with it?" Well, the guy explained. He said, no, it's just for internal communications. Don't worry, we're not going to give it to the press. Which was kind of disappointing. I said, give it to the press. That'd be really fun. Anyway, now technically, I didn't let Steve get the first iPhone 10 since I activated my in-store at 8 a.m. and his arrived as planned at 10 a.m. at the UPS store. but my heart was in the right place. Anyway, I also got to play with mine sooner because, of course, AT&T got in the way of us yet again. Since I had bought the phone Steve picked up using my phone number, when Steve tried to activate it with his phone number, it was hell on earth. Remember that 2 hours earlier, I had activated a completely different phone to my phone number, but AT&T didn't have any problem with that. I had even asked the Apple rep if Steve would have any problem activating his phone to his number, my phone to his number, I should say. And this guy said, oh, probably not, but don't worry, AT&T will sort you out after that. Well, technically they did get him sorted, but that was 3 phone calls to AT&T and 2 to Apple in between, and Apple didn't help at all. And it took over 2 hours of trying to authenticate to AT&T's overloaded servers. I really felt badly for him because I've been there before and it's no fun at all. Well, one other thing was interesting about the transition from our old to new phones. Pat and I both lost a lot of our activity data when we had to pair our Apple Watches to our new phones. In fact, mine said that I had to erase my Apple Watch and start as new. Steve didn't get that error though. But anyway, oddly, after a few days for me, I think it was 1 day for Pat, the data actually came back that had been missing. I was missing 4 days of data and it all came back. I did lose several hours in the middle of iPhone pickup day because while I waited a while to move my watch over, it seemed to have lost that time. Just a little caution, if you're on a big move streak when you switch phones, do that switch right away. Well, the good news is, though, I captured a screenshot on my watch before I collapsed for a nap at 10:25 a.m. Showed that I already had 10 stand hours in what was close to 10 and a half hours. So here's the funny part about all the shenanigans that Steve, Pat, and I went through to get our iPhone 10s. iPhones 10? Anyway, in the afternoon, I received an email from someone in a local user group that I talked to. Anyway, this person said, Costco had the iPhone 10s in stock for walk-ins, and this person got one in about 5 minutes. Oh, well, Pat and I had an adventure, and we don't regret a minute of it. Well, now that I've had the iPhone 10 for a couple of days, I have a couple of thoughts I want to give you on the device. I have to say that Face ID is positively magical. I love it. Imagine going to a site where you need to log in and you hit the button to launch your password manager like 1Password. And like a half a second, it opens and shows your username and password and you didn't do anything. It's absolutely dreamy. It is my favorite thing on the phone. Now, iPhone 10 has a gesture area at the bottom of the screen, and it's indicated by a horizontal line that adapts to the background color. Opening the phone has become pretty much second nature, just like almost immediately. You swipe up from that gesture area, and it's like, boom, you're into the phone. As you look at the phone, you swipe up, and you're in. There's no waiting for Face ID at all. I'm telling you, it's right away. Now, I have an aversion to clicking buttons. I really hate people who click on mouse pads. It's like, no, you can tap. You don't have to click. I don't know. I feel like it's going to wear out or something. So the swipe up gesture to get to the home screen from anywhere is an absolute delight to me as well. I love it, love it, love it. I have to say, though, I haven't gotten used to swiping up and pausing, which is one of the ways you get to the app switcher. So swiping up, you just swipe up. But to get to the app switcher, you swipe and you just kind of hold part way and then the app switcher comes up. It's better than double clicking, but I usually forget and I swipe up too far. To get back to the app switcher, you have to tap something on your home screen, which you may or may not want to open. I should say that the other way to get to the app switcher is simply swipe across on the gesture bar. Actually, it's not really to the app switcher. You're flipping through them. You don't see them as a bunch of apps. Anyway, I haven't once yet remembered to use that. The hardest gesture for me and for Steve is how to kill an app. You swipe up and pause to get to the app switcher, but you don't then just swipe up on an app to kill it. For some reason, they remove that, which really bugs us. First, you have to tap and hold on any one of the visible apps, and then you get a red circle with a line on each app. Only then can you swipe up to kill an app, or you can tap the red circle. It's like a whole extra step from before, and it has nothing to do with not having a home button. I do not know why they did that to us, and it's annoying. Another annoying thing is that you're not allowed to see the battery percentage anymore. Since the battery status now lives in the upper right ear, along with your cellular and Wi-Fi strength indicators, they decided there wasn't enough room for that little number for you. Control Center is available from that upper right ear by swiping down, and there you are shown the battery percentage. It's kind of aggravating that you don't get it on screen, though. I like it. I look at it, I'm like, I can't tell. Is that 40%? Is it 60%? It's hard to tell. I was really looking forward to the OLED screen on the iPhone 10, but to be honest, it doesn't really jump out at me. I mean, it's pretty, and it's big and a much smaller phone size, but I don't swoon over it like Renee Ritchie led me to believe I would. I brought up a couple of images on my iPhone 7 Plus and the iPhone 10, and I can see a difference. The screen's vibrance is better on the 10, but it's not like I would have noticed it if I wasn't looking for it, at least to me. Maybe I don't have a discerning eye. Well, speaking of a smaller device, I got to tell you, the iPhone 10 felt really tiny to me at first. Within a day, I totally stopped noticing. Then while I was writing up this review, I got out my iPhone 7 Plus to do the photo comparison, to look at the display, and it felt positively gigantic in my hand. It's interesting how quickly you get used to something. Speaking of getting used to something, let's talk about the notch at the top and that gesture area I talked about at the bottom. Pat and I have been chatting quite a bit about how distracting it is, mostly because apps aren't updated yet to the iPhone 10 APIs. We chat, for example, on Telegram, and there's all kinds of weirdnesses. Like you can see text in the upper left ear displayed underneath the time. And so that's kind of funky looking. And then messages will flow under the gesture bar as well. The Spec for Developers talks a lot about the safe areas, which I talked about in my exhaustive geometry lesson post on the screen sizes. You really do lose a fair amount of screen real estate to these safe areas if the developers follow the rules. If they don't, it's all usable, but it's underneath stuff and looks kind of funky. But let's talk about the most important development in iPhone 10, Animoji. They're positively delightful, especially if you go out of your way to send them to friends who detest them, like Mr. Cranky Pants, David Roth, or Katie Floyd, who just happened to say on Clockwise podcast how much she didn't look forward to those. Yeah, I've been sending to them. It's been really, really fun. I got to tell you, the rainbow unicorn is my absolute favorite. Well, I hope you enjoyed hearing our tales of adventure, acquiring the iPhone 10, and some first impressions of the new hotness. Okay. Almost done. Time to close it out. Okay. Send a blog there. It's weird, Steve? There was hardly any typos in that one. The one I wrote in the car.
Yeah. That must be the one that I edited.
Did you?
I don't think I...
No, you didn't.
I don't think I did.
No, you didn't.
So, something's wrong here.
Okay, 6:12 and I'm hungry. Let's finish
This is a marathon.
Oh yeah. Oh good. You gave my
yeah, because some people join late.
Okay, good. You got to hit that. It's
pretty funny.
I like it. All right, here we go. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Do not forget to send in your dumb questions. It was fun having a dumb question this week. I love dumb questions. You can send those, your comments and suggestions to me at allison@podfeet.com. And you can follow me on Twitter. Where do you think? At Podfeet. Remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com. You can go to podfeet.com/Patreon, podfeet.com/Facebook, podfeet.com/Google+, podfeet.com/Amazon. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, like Don Moeller did after having been gone for a very long time, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCast castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. And you are not muted during that, Steve.
Ooh, sorry about that. But
it's okay. Powered through.
That doesn't come through on the recording.
I don't think so.
No. I'm just challenging you while you're
because this isn't hard enough, right?
And maybe the listeners of the live show, but they probably can't hear it.
You think they're going to play out?
Oh yeah, maybe not as quickly as the what were the watch? The Apple Watch was the What did they call that? I can't even remember the name. That's how momentous they were.
Let's see.
Thank you, Terry. Terry didn't hear me. Maybe I have a new.
If I turn around 180, if I turn around 180, can you guys can't see that? No,
it's too bright. Bring your screen.
I've got the screen as low as I can.
It's that OLED. You cannot lower it enough.
Okay. Yeah, it's about as low as I can go. Can you see that? That's too dark. Anyway, that's okay. Who's your new wingman?
Terry.
Terry
says he didn't hear me at all.
You were my friend first. Oh, he's just saying he didn't hear you.
Wait,
okay.
Rush just joined us. Good timing, Rush.
No. He might have gotten screwed up by the time change.
No, it should have been the other way. He would have joined us at 4 p.m. our time.
Oh, So he's got no excuse.
Because we turned the clock back. So it's like
Spring forward, fall back, nobody knows. Where do you think? At Podfeet. Remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com. You can go enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Well, now I think we all have to stay and talk to Rush, don't you think? It's only 6:15. Only 15 minutes.
Don says he was a big fan of Bohemian Rhapsody.
And why would he have just said that? What did I do?
Actually,
something?
I'm not sure what the connection was. There's something that happened, I'm sure.
It always makes me think of Wayne and Garth.
Yeah,
right?
Maybe you're Wayne and I'm Garth.
File export. Doug Bender. Did Doug Bender just run away?
Wayne's World. Yeah, Doug left us.
Well, it sounds like a good
idea.
idea.
Losing quickly, we should sign off before everyone goes before us.
Yeah, all right. No, we were leaving first. Goodbye. Goodbye, Kevin. We're turning off Kevin Cast.
No, Kevin left a long time ago.
We did? All right. We're turning off Kevin Cast anyway. Goodbye. All right. Steve, say goodbye, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
All right. Now, at the risk, I'm going to talk for a couple of seconds so that I get to be the last one on screen. Goodbye. Wait, where's Rose? Is Rose got? No.
She's
Bye,
still there.
Rose.